Okay, welcome back to the Vulnerability School podcast. I am your host, Jenna Jarvis, and today we've got Mitch Mathews.
Glad to be here.
So excited to dive into this podcast. We talk about so many goodies and...
The energy's right.
Yes, the energy is right. I told Mitch I feel like he's my soul brother.
Straight up.
Yes.
Soul sister. So, that's genuine, by the way. I felt that.
Hell yeah. I'm honored.
You're a dope lady.
So let's get right into it.
Let's do this.
So, Mitch, so excited to have you on Vulnerability School podcast.
Glad to be here.
This is so exciting. I'm so honored. We're in your home today.
I love it. This is the first time.
Backdrop.
This is the first time. We've never made this a podcast space, but here we are.
Hell yeah. So I was listening to a couple of your podcasts that you've been on before, and all of them I feel like are very like talk about your football career and like all that you've done with that, which is
that typically comes up.
Yes, and which I love and is so cool. But I'm going to be honest, I'm not a football girly, you know?
Even better.
Don't know a ton about it. But one thing I loved that you said in an episode is that everyone kind of knows you for that, but like you want to get to a point where that's like not even a thing almost. Like you don't want that to be your legacy because you're going to do so much more than that. And so I kind of want to go into that a little bit. I want you to tell us about who you really are, you know, more than just the football goody stuff.
I've always had this thought that life is in chapters, and football was a thing that I did, and it's not who I am anymore, like whatsoever. I wanted to be known for the task at hand and being good at the thing that I wanted to be good at, which was football. But if 10 years from now, people are still talking about that's Mitch, the football player, and not something different, that I think I did something wrong. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think my life is so much more than a chapter that lasted from 19 years old to, 27. Like if that's the hallmark of my life, like then I did something wrong, I think there's sort of a leapfrog effect that should be there, that football players, high performers in any space should have confidence in a human being and not like, I'm only confident when I'm playing football, but off the field, I don't even know who I am. Yeah. Because what happens is when football ends or your sport of choice ends, you have this really long window of like being lost. And a lot of times you turn to things that you shouldn't because you're lost. It's like, first and foremost, people should be obsessed with who they are as a person. And then when football is done, even though that might be like a bittersweet and it might be hard, and it was really hard for me actually, because I had love for myself enough, there's, I hope, 7 more footballs, as I have air quotes in my hands. I hope there's a lot more of those that I'm known for. And that football was just one of the many things I did, not the only thing I did. You know?
Totally. What do you feel like is your next thing?
That's a work in progress, I think. There's a lot that I want to accomplish. After football, during football, I had such high ego that really was the only thing. And through these last, I haven't played football in 7 years. Through these last 7 years, it's just been all self-discovery, finding who I really am and my gifts, and then really using those in whatever outlet, whatever way that comes up is fine with me. But I was never into self-discovery because I already had discovered it. It was football. That was it. Just stay focused on the thing. But now as a dad, business person, and someone who really craves like changing my community and world change in some way, like leaving a really deep legacy that actually means something, not just football stats, like that's really important to me too. And so as I evolve as a human, like the outputs of me, whether it's through business or philanthropy or speaking, whatever it is, I just hope that there's just so much impact in the world. That's oddly what I crave is I want to have so much impact, and whatever medium gets me there the fastest, we'll do it, Yeah. And that's truly what I crave is I want to change the world in some way. And then it just starts by changing my world, my family's world, my friends' world, my community's world. And then it just keeps going from there.
Okay. And where does like all this drive and ambition to change the world come from? Like, is this something you've always had?
Man, I don't know. I really don't know. I really have no idea. I think my mom was a big piece. I just saw how impactful she was. Well, so many ways. But one quote or one train of thought that I've learned recently was my grandma crawled so that my mom could walk, and my mom walked so that I could run. And I think with the mediums we have now, like podcasts and businesses and social media, like the impact you can make happens so fast. And our parents, at least mine, like they crawled and they walked so that I could have a stage to do a lot of good.
Yeah.
And that's important to me, to not break the chain. Like they worked their butts off to get me to where I am today, and to not break the chain and use all my gifts to change the world. But because they work so hard, it's like my time to be able to do something about it. You know? So I think it's more of like my mom's legacy thing. I just feel like there's such a, not a debt, but such a deep feeling of like, I want to do good in this world, and I want to benefit a lot of people.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I feel like that's kind of rare in a sense, because I feel like when you have like these ambitious parents, sometimes the kids just aren't as appreciative.
Yeah, why does that happen?
You know? I don't know.
I have no idea why that happened. I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea why that happens. I think we all have like some secret sauce inside of us, but it does take really listening into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think whether you're a trust fund kid or whether you have everything just kind of laid out for you, like there really is no push to go discover you, because you already have everything laid. Like the red carpet's laid out for the rest of your life. You have money. And you don't really have to discover that. Or if you have football and that's your only thing, it's kind of just there for you. Why self-discover? I think it takes going through some shit to like, just like really dive in and say, what am I about, man? What do I want to do? And if your back's not up against the wall and you're asking that question, what am I going to do? Who am I? If that never happens to you, I don't think you discover much.
It's true.
I think you just kind of float around and you just kind of do what you see on social media that's cool, and you kind of do those things and you just kind of bounce around. I think it takes a lot of self-discovery and after going through some stuff to really find out, who you want to be. Yeah.
When did you feel like that point was for you?
2017 for me. It was, that's the last year I played football, and I got married. I lost my mom in the same year. I launched the business that I still own to this day that same year. And I went through like the absolute depths, and it didn't make me question anything. It just made me just refocus on, okay, hold up. Like I'll say I lost football. Like I feel like I did. It didn't end the way I wanted it to. And whether injury or whatever, it just didn't end the way I wanted it to. And at the same time, I had lost my mom. And those were, my mom gave me my identity. Like she did. Through the words she spoke, she gave me my identity. And football at the time was my identity. So the two things that were my identity within 1 year, when I was 26, within 1 year were gone. And so when you lose the things that really give you that confidence and swagger and identity, like you have to something is going to get, that pressure that you feel is something's going to squeeze out of it. Like so that volcano is going to erupt and something's going to come out of that. And it's going to be, you turning to the wrong things and other vices, or it's going to turn into something beautiful. And I remember having that choice. I remember thinking that football didn't end the way I wanted it to. My mom's life, that was tragic and horrible. And
was it unexpected with your mom?
No, it was when we found out she had cancer. It was terminal, and so there was just not much time.
Yeah.
And so I remember having to have a decision. Like I could either take these things that happened, and they can be the thing that I complain about forever and use as a valid crutch.
Yeah.
Or it can be something that I turn into a beautiful story later. And I still am choosing the latter,
Good. Yeah.
And I don't know if everyone always does. They don't. They don't for sure.
Both are hard. Like they always say, choose your hard,
Yeah, for sure. And so I think it was going through those things that really made me look inside and say, okay, what the heck am I doing? What is going on? Like, what do I want to be? Who do I want to become? You had to almost start over. Like you start fresh. Like the things that gave me confidence are now gone. Let's take the bits and pieces that I liked from my last 26 years. Let's get rid of the things I don't like, and let's create something new.
So where did you even start with all of this?
What do you mean?
Like I feel like when you discovered this, like that you kind of needed to start new, like where did you go? And before this point, like I feel like almost this like awakening for you a little bit. Were you like super spiritual and into that kind of stuff before, or did that?
Religious. Okay. I think I was religious, but I I feel like the way I'm saying this made it seem like, oh, I had this decision. It was either bad or good, and I chose good. And like, look at me now. Like, no, for the following 3 to 4 years after that, I was extremely angry, like very angry. Like I still chose to not go the bad path and use the coping vices. I still chose to not do that. But I was still my worst self I'd ever been for like 3 years following. Like, I'm still not even proud of the way I was, like full of anger. I tried to lead with anger in a way in my business and with like my people even. I just was like, I'm so hurt. And if you're around me, you're going to be hurt too. Cause if I'm feeling this way, you're going to feel it too.
Yeah.
And Madie and my dad make fun of me for this all the time. Like, when Mitch is in a good mood, the whole neighborhood's in a good mood. When Mitch is in a bad mood, everybody's in a bad mood because he'll make sure you know, like this, you know. So for those 3-4 years following,
I cannot even imagine you in a bad mood.
You'll see angry. You'll see it. No, I like, it's like the hyper competitiveness. And by the way, like, people that know me now are like, I was very different than I am now than that I was back then. Just hyper competitive. Football is all that mattered. Winning is all that mattered. And then when I left football, I still kind of led my life and my thoughts like I was a football player, but I was very angry because of what happened. Football player trying to lead people, lead myself with anger. Like, that doesn't work. That's like, that is fire, gasoline, and all things explosives. Like, and so I wasn't proud of who I was after, because I just led with anger. I led myself with anger. My thoughts were angry. I've lost these 2 big things in my life. Let me make sure I just take from everybody else and then fill that gap.
Yeah.
And when things would go wrong, the first thing to answer the door was anger. And just do what you did in football, bash some heads in, start talking shit. Like, that's just what you did. Yeah. That's just what you do. Like, just get angry and you perform better. Like, that's going to work. And in the game of life, I realized that's the very thing that makes things get worse. It's the very things that push people away. Even though they love you, they just don't want to be around your energy.
Yeah.
And these last few years, I have just been obsessed with energy and vibration and like aura. And like, when I walk into a room, what's speaking for me before I even say anything? And it's my aura. It's the energy. And the energy I was carrying with me for the 3-4 years after football would turn everybody away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though social media can make you look one way, or like the football like name could make you look a certain way, like deep down, the energy that I was carrying with me wasn't good.
So during this time, how was your relationship with Madie? Like, I'm sure she was noticing this. Was it like scaring her a little bit?
No, I don't think it was that far. I'm really good at hiding it, I think.
Okay.
Like, I'm really good at just being jolly and happy and just like fun.
Yeah.
It was just constant frustration.
Yeah.
It was like, what do you mean she's gone? Like, what do you mean what do you mean it's gone? Like, what do you mean I'm starting over? What do you mean? And I just couldn't make sense of a lot. And Maddie's just such a sweet human being. I think she was probably the only person that could have dealt with that. Plus, she lost her mom when she was 12.
Oh, wow.
So she had to relive the whole thing with my mom too. So she was the right person to be with me. And I don't mean to make myself seem like I was a horrible person. I was ethical. I did the right things. I was just not happy, dude.
Yeah. Maybe it was like way more internally than it.
So yeah, it was just internal. And I was still like passionate about the next business venture and things and community. But I guess this is what it was. I'm learning as I'm saying this. I was still passionate about building community, entrepreneurship, friends, and building great relationships. I just couldn't, because I was so angry.
Okay. Yeah.
I just couldn't. I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, I'm an infectious person. I love friends. I love building community. Why every time I try, it's not unfolding like it should? And it's because every message that I said was carried with bad energy, anger. Like, I'm better than you energy. Like, because that's in football, that's what you're taught. You're actually taught to think, like, your coaches are telling you to think, you're supposed to think that you're better than people. And so if you take that energy to the game of life,
I get that vibe from a lot of athletes, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, but no one should blame them. Like, let them live in that. Like, you think Usain Bolt lacks confidence in himself? Like, no way. Like, you think Tom Brady struggles with confidence? Like, no way. Like, you're taught to be at peak like that. But you take what served you in one place and try to bring it to the next place. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so here's what I think happened is I was fed up with working so hard and it just not working. I was like, this doesn't make sense. So I said, okay, well, Mitch, what is it? What's going to make it realign? You're trying to build community. You love it. It's important to you. You want to grow. You want to make more. You want to do all these things more. And you're passionate about it. It's that you're trying to do all those things, but leading with anger and leading with ego. And no one is not settling with anybody. Yeah. Like no one likes that. But I didn't know that I was doing that. Yeah. I just didn't know. And it was finally until some deep reflection. It was this trip to Poland I took with Wim Hof. It was some plant medicine. It was prayer. It was God. It was so many things. And finally it was, Mitch, your energy is just off. Like what happened is what happened in the past.
It's like, it just blows my mind because that's like such a huge realization that I feel like a lot of people don't get to that
It's
point.
like so simple. I'm like, how did you not just think of this? You know what I mean? But I didn't. I just thought, do the same thing you did in football and you're going to succeed.
Yeah, totally.
Just like be angry and work harder than everybody. And hate was a big thing. And especially in football, like you love your teammates, but you freaking hate them. You know what I mean? Like you love playing football, but you hate the other team. Like that's such a weird thing to like, that's what makes you successful is like you were taught to think this way. Like even in the NFL, like I'm a wide receiver. Who's guarding me is a defensive back. The way you're taught to think is either he gets paid or you get paid. Either he feeds his family or you feed your family. So you're like, wait a minute, like, no, I want to feed my family. I'm going to make sure he doesn't feed his family. And that's your energy is like, I'm going to make sure another man can't put food on the table. No, that's not really going to happen. But the fact that that's your thought on how to win is a wild thought. And I absorbed that and I did that and it worked in that realm.
That would be hard to like deprogram that.
Yeah. Sure. Like it just, so leaving into like entrepreneurship and leadership and this next venture that I'm launching, if I tried to pull that BS, it ain't working.
Yeah.
And so I had this realization, I have to change for my message to change.
Okay, something that I think is so cool about your story is your mom and like how much she's always believed in you because I feel like that's pretty rare. Like the way that you've said that she just like always told you that you could accomplish anything, I think is so powerful. And so, yeah, I just want you to tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. And I think that goes along with what we were just talking about as well.
Yeah.
But my mom, and I always say this, like a parent's external words are a child's internal words. And I'm a big believer in that with my own kids now. Like I'll lay in bed with my daughters and we'll just talk about whatever. And they're one's 1, one's 3. And I don't even know if they can remember, if they will remember, but just telling them that they're so amazing and they're so confident and they're so sweet and they're so giving and they're so loving and, they'll repeat after me and whatever. But that's what my mom did for me. And I know it worked. But just like anything, I think your greatest strength can also be your greatest weakness. Like too much confidence can turn into narcissism. Too much confidence can turn into ego. And so everything needs to be kept in check, I think.
Yeah.
And so I just am a big believer in the power of words. And there's a principle that I always teach, which is be your own mentor. Like not all day long do I have my mentors like there, like they're not in the office today. They're not here giving me guidance. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm by myself, And so I can be my own mentor. Like if my mom's external words were my internal words, what are my external words to myself? Like what is going on in there that makes me tick? And that's sort of when I realized after, my mom passed away and I was so angry, I was like, wait a minute, like the only things I'm telling myself are like more anger and making it worse. Like just was so ticked off. Let me just throw this ticked offness at everybody and it'll work. Like that's what I did before. It should work. And when I realized that it's daily meditation, and I don't say daily unless I do it daily. It's daily meditation. That's what I do.
And what does that look like?
Or daily self-talk.
Like what kind of meditation do you do?
It could be walking in my backyard. It could be sitting at my desk. It could be laying in bed, like whatever. Just having a dialogue in my mind that keeps my energy and my vibration in check. Just make sure that that's like the main thing.
Yeah.
Who I am as a person and how am I vibrating so that when I do speak, it's sent with love. You know what I mean? And that people can feel that when they come into my house, or when they're around my wife and I, like they can just feel that, because that was not there for the last 10 years. It just wasn't. It was all about me. It was who can I beat and how can I win?
Yeah.
And that's not going to work for those next chapters. It just doesn't.
I love that you said that, because when I came over for like a sauna, cold plunge, sound bath.
Sauna party.
Yeah, sauna party. We're in the kitchen chatting. I never even got into the sauna or cold plunge because we're all just having this really good conversation about OCD. And I literally felt like I was on drugs. Like the energy in your house was just so good. I'm serious. I literally left and I was like,
yeah, there's a medicine energy in here for sure.
Yeah. Like you've done a great job. So that's
That's cool. All Madie right there.
All these realizations, you know, to like get to that point to like be able to understand your own energy too.
Yeah. I think it's a worthy thing to keep in check, you know? Like I think as humans, we're so easy to get angry and then like let it linger there for a while. And then if I had a message that I could just carry to like the four corners of the earth, like if you keep your same goals, but approach them with the wrong energy, you're just going to constantly be frustrated. If you approach those same goals and desires to grow and be a great husband, you approach them with a lot of love and self-talk, just watch things start clicking. And like, whether it's the money you make, the connections you make, things start happening so much faster when you approach everything with higher levels of energy.
Yeah.
And it's so easy, I think, in my position now to get angry often. I think leaders, like you deal with a lot of stress. Moms, you deal with a lot of stress. Dads, you deal with a lot of stress. And so I just think it's so easy to be grumpy all day, you know? But if that's what your kids remember, if that's what your employees remember, if that's what your podcast guests remember, if that's what people remember you as, just like frustration energy on your way to success, like it's going to be a lonely, lonely place at the top when you get there.
Yeah.
You know? Because people want to know, like people just want to feel good when they're around you. That's what they're going to remember, not what you said about how you made them feel, you know? So I crave that. And so I've just searched, how does Mitch get there? You know,
I want to know how you like stay in this good energy. Like what's your daily routine? Like what's your non-negotiables?
Yeah. First of all, I don't want to make it seem like I'm like some energy shaman that like always gonna get it. Like that's just not the case. I think everyone's just real, but it is a worthy cause that I do chase. But I'll tell you one thing about my routine that I feel like when I nail it, like I feel like I keep my energy really high. In the morning, I don't know the exact numbers, but the serotonin that you spend when the first thing you do is looking at your phone while you're laying in bed, like the first thing, alarm goes off, you grab your phone, of course, there's already text messages there, there's already DMs there. So you go through those thinking that like, I'm already checking boxes off. I wish I knew the number offhand, but there's a serotonin, like you spend so much serotonin just in that 10 minutes. I think it's like 60 to 80% of your serotonin, your daily serotonin. You spend it in the first 10 to 30 minutes in a day. If that's the first thing you're doing is looking at your phone. And serotonin is your love drug. Like I want to keep that throughout my day. So my conversations, I can spend that serotonin then.
Yeah.
I want to spend it on my kids and my spouse and my conversations and my employees and my interactions. I don't need to spend that important love drug on my phone checking texts and DMs. And so what I've really focused on in the mornings is turning that alarm off and then just putting my phone down right away and not thinking that like, if I answer those early morning text messages and those early morning DMs that I'm like ahead of the day. It's just not the case. Like those text messages are typically nothing. And so it's that first hour in the day, no phone. And what happens is, I think for a lot of people whose habit is typically their phone right when they wake up, when they don't do that for the first hour of the day, they're going to realize how bored they are. They kind of get up and wander around like, I had a plan, but now I don't because my phone is my plan.
Yeah.
Other people's problems is my plan typically. And so what happens and what's going to happen if people do this is they're going to put their phone away, not look at it for 1 hour. And they're going to wander into their Zen den or their office and grab that book and read it. Because there's no expenditure of energy that happened in that first 10 to 30 minutes. Then they're more likely to journal. They're more likely to just go spend time with their kids or work out, like whatever they need to do. But they just store that bank of serotonin to give it out to the right people all day. And so I've really leaned into that practice of not looking at my phone the first hour of the day. And I'm not joking. I can really, really feel a big difference in how I treat people, how I approach things. I approach things more with love because I've saved up that serotonin to just give out more at the right times and for the important moments in the day.
Yeah.
So that's been a huge thing to me. I don't have like some 5:45 a.m. do this, 6:15 do that. I don't have that. Yeah. I just don't. Yeah. But like if I start my day without my phone, 30 minutes of reading, 5 minutes of journaling, and just giving all that love to my kids in the morning, the day is rocking. I can almost guarantee it.
I love that.
Just little small things,
Yeah. I need to do that. That's cool.
It's great. Try it. You'll literally give it a week, try it, and you'll actually notice like throughout the day, I have more love to give. I have more energy to give. You spend so much of that love drug in the first 10 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to find that stat for you guys. Okay. So I swear I've seen on your social media, you talk about things like this. Tell me more.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a product. It's called the Mindful Challenge Bottle, and it has 27 different challenges to
I've seen
that.
It's
Connect
rad.
with yourself, to fall in love with yourself. And one of our challenges is it's called a digital detox, and it's for 10 days to like have the first 30 minutes of your day without your phone.
So you're already doing this. You don't need me.
I mean, I put that on there. Have I been consistent with that? No. But a full hour, that's next level.
Is it really?
Yes. No, that's impressive.
Here's the thing. When you do it for an hour, you're going to realize how many things you should be doing that you're not. Like, wait, I should be reading. Then there's meditation. Then there's yoga. Then there's, oh my gosh. And you'll fill up that hour pretty quick.
Yeah, that's so true. I feel like I could definitely fill that up.
Yeah.
Okay, something I want to talk to you about is insecurities. I feel like when you think of Mitch Mathews, you're just like, he's just this all-star hotshot, cool guy.
Oh gosh, so cringy. Please stop it.
And I want to know what insecurities you've had and how you've overcome them.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question.
He's like, none.
No, that's not it. That's not it. Wow. Insecurities. I think, I don't think I've ever had a problem with like caring what people think. I actually know that's like a strength of mine, but I do think that I try to uphold like this image sometimes for people. And I'll tell you where that came from. I think at BYU, like you're at a religious school and you're on the biggest platform, which is the football team at BYU. Like you're just on this platform, and as like a leader and kind of a spokesperson, I would say for the team, like I just had this image to uphold and I hated it. And I don't think it ever caused me to be fake. It just caused me to like, hey, before I say something, what is the image behind it? And hey, before I go do this thing, is there an image involved? Because I have to protect that. And it's just bullshit. Like, it's just like to have a thought like that is like, that's just you being a product of the environment around you and people's opinion around you, And I broke free from a lot of that now that I'm not there anymore. But I think like over obsessing with like image, especially back then at times, it was like something that I always look back at, like, why did I ever do that? And that was not me. Why did I say it like that? I just said it because I was supposed to uphold this image and this standard. And I've realized that as I've tried to like unwind that, I've lived so much healthier, because there's there's authentic vibrations and there's inauthentic vibrations, And I think everyone can sense it, whether or not they can see it and say it when they see it. I don't think that's possible, but they can feel it. And if you're always worrying about like, how do you look, it's going to push a lot of people away from you, I think, in the end of the day. So I think that's one, if that's a good answer to insecurity. I think that was one that I battle with, is like, doesn't have to be about image at all. Yeah. And at this next business that I'm launching, as I'm working with like social media team and other people, they're like, okay, so like, Mitch, where do you want to be involved in like the social media? I'm like, get my face out of there. Like I don't want to be on the social media. I don't want it to be about me, And so I feel like I'm just working so hard to unwind that so that I can make it so much about other people. Whereas before it was always about me, Yeah. And so I just hated that. And so, anyways, that's sort of what I'm leaning into now, is not making everything about how do things look. Make it raw and make it real.
That's cool. I love that. Yeah.
What's yours? You're not escaping this. What are we doing here? What is yours, sis?
Okay.
This fly is in here to hang out.
Yes, homeboy, welcome. Do you have any insights? Okay. When I was asking you this, I was thinking, oh, what's mine? I feel like one of mine, because I grew up in kind of like I had a traumatic upbringing a little bit. I was sexually abused, just, didn't connect super well with my parents. And like a lot of the time I learned in therapy, like I've never been book smart. Like you put me in a history class, nothing enters my brain. Literally nothing. And it's like been a huge insecurity for me my whole life. Like, I don't know why, but like we talk about mental health, everything sticks, cause I'm obsessed with it. Or like I was pretty decent at math or like little weird things, but like just other things. Like if I am not interested, I do not understand it. And it's been hard, or in church too. Like growing up and we did like scriptures or in seminary, everybody's quoting all these things from the Bible. And
I couldn't memorize a 1-sentence scripture.
Me either.
No way.
Yeah. It was never my thing. I'm glad you can relate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I always I was just like, why do things not stick for me? And I talked to my therapist and she said, Jenna, like when you were growing up, like your trauma response was to block everything out to keep you safe. And so like that also happened in school and these different things. And
Interesting.
And I feel like it's crazy too, because as I've healed through my trauma, I feel like I'm like a way faster learner too. Like, because I feel like my brain isn't protecting me as much from every little thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like I feel like I am able to process things better. So I feel like one of my, still like an insecurity is just like that I'm not book smart. Like I am just not,
Yeah.
Like I talk about mental health, emotional stuff all day, but like when it comes to science or like, yeah, that's why that book that you recommended
3 times. You read it 3 times?
I read it 3 times. I'm like, I gotta process this. It's called Power versus Force. Yeah.
Let me jump in with that insecurity with you, okay? I'm going to dive in with you so you're not alone on that insecurity.
Okay.
So I've
he needs a podcast.
Deep down felt like this a little bit of the same way about like IQ. Because my whole life I have been judged based on our IQ. How good are you at absorbing information from a teacher, whether it's information you want or not? How good are you absorbing that and then absorbing information from a textbook and then being tested on it? Yeah. And I had no skill in that. Yeah. And I forget which book this is in. I don't have a name for it, and I wish I did, but I read recently this story of this little girl. This is back in like the 50s and 60s, how she went to class and the teachers told her parents like, hey, she's not smart enough to be in the class. The parents were heartbroken, like what's going on? So they put her in a different school and she just couldn't learn. And, they brought in a friend or a mentor that came in and she wouldn't sit still in class and she was always, moving her feet and she just didn't excel in school. And so she thought she was dumb. And the parents thought their kid was dumb. And so this man, came and observed her, and this guy was like, she's not dumb. She's just a dancer. And she went to a fully immersive dance school, and she ended up going to Juilliard, and she ended up writing plays for Broadway. And if you didn't know about her childhood, you'd say that's a genius. She's brilliant. She's intelligent. But and thank God that didn't happen. But if you would have judged her and her parents would have kept thinking, oh, she's dumb, we have to always give her special needs. She has special needs. She can't learn that way. And you keep her in a realm that's not right for her, then she would have grown up her whole life thinking that she was dumb. Yeah. And so I think for a lot of people, and I hope I can effectively teach this to people I talk to, is like, I grew up my life with my friends always getting better grades. I got a 2.2 at BYU. Like, thank God I didn't lean into that and let that be my standard of confidence. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because it's so easy to let that be. It's so easy to look at the screen at the testing center and be like, oh, there's another F and a D and a C, and let it just destroy you mentally. Where my brother was 4.0 everywhere he went. And he was always super smart. I'm like, wait, does that mean I'm not smart, or does that mean I'm being tested on the wrong things? What did your mom say about this? Like when that would happen? Oh, she would just, I think she would attempt to like, you're smart in other ways. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the hard part is, as kids and in high school and in college, where are we being tested on our creativity and our EQ, our emotional intelligence, our social skills? Yeah. We're not being tested on that. How to communicate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're only tested on IQ. And so it takes special parents, special mentors, and special teachers to see people that struggle and say, wait a minute, you're not dumb. You're just a dancer, or you're you're a speaker. You're a coach. You're a spiritual giant, and you can be genius in every one of those things. But if you keep people in realms that they're not going to excel at, they're going to grow up their whole life thinking they're dumb. Like, how sad is that?
Yeah, it's so
There's
true.
so many people right now that are listening to this right now that think they're dumb because they've been tested on things that make them seem like they're not smart. You know?
Yeah.
Like, thank goodness my whole life has not been high school, college, postgraduate degree, more school, textbooks, because I would think I'm dumb my whole life.
Yep.
But I genuinely believe that I'm really creative and smart now because I'm in my realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's going to be a day where people say that you're a genius. Straight up. Like, they're going to say this chick is so genius. But if you hadn't stayed in realms where you couldn't show your genius, you're right. You would have been dumb, because I'm not smart in those realms either. And so I think it's the confidence to put yourselves in situations that you can be called genius, because that's a fun and healthy place to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I really love that too. One of my favorite questions to ask people when they're in my group is like, what lights you up? Like, what is like, gives you a zest for life, you know? Because I think even those things that we did like as little kids, like when I was little, I just like loved chatting with people, you know?
Yeah.
I loved like hearing people's stories and like just, or I loved being like a little investigator, you know, just like finding out crazy things, or like I loved dancing and like being with people and like creating community and like, and when I look back, like that's what I still love, you know, just like connecting to that inner child version of us, I feel like helps us really understand, like, I don't know, where we do thrive. Cause I even think back to like, I was in Shay Sweatfield has a program right now, Divine Alignment, and I'm in it. And we were talking about like different wounds we have in our bodies and processing through those. And I kept thinking about like my brain, and I would just have these flashbacks to like sixth grade of just being in there and feeling so stupid and just crying and sitting with my teacher trying to understand these things. But
crazy, man.
And that was like very traumatic for me, you know?
No, those are actually traumatic.
Yeah.
Like it's like, wait a minute, what do you mean I'm in like a lower group than everyone? I don't like that feeling. But what other places are teachers? And I'm not blaming teachers. I'm not blaming the government. It's not what I think we're both getting at is like, put yourselves in places to show off your genius.
Yeah. And figure out what that is.
Yeah.
You know, if something's not working, then you need to go to the next thing. Don't stay there.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if a lot of people do that though. I think so much of us are programmed that like, if you thought you were not smart back in school, then that's just probably who you are. Let the smart people make the money. But you realize like a lot of the successful entrepreneurs were the people that got C's and D's, like the spiritual giants, like they don't care what their math scores were, you know? And so I think it's the confidence to not care about the standardized testing of humans when we're young that put us in these very poor boxes of, here are the smart kids, here are the dumb kids. And I think that's how all kids are trained. And that's even through college, you know? And so it took me a while to figure out like, no, I can be just as genius as somebody else. I'm going to do my own test and my own standardized testing. I'm going to do my own scores, you know what I mean? I'm going to do my own thing. And I hope, and I know I can become genius in my own realm. But I think it takes like some guts, some stones to step out and say, no, I am smart, and I'm going to figure out where I can be really deeply genius and serve people, you know? Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool.
But I'm in that insecurity with you. Okay.
And I would never expect that,
you know? Oh, it was school. It just made me feel a certain type of way, and I had to shed that. It took a while. Yeah. But I tell myself every day that I'm genius in my way.
Ooh, I love that.
It's in my way, you know, like I'm not in my brother's way. He's got a doctorate. I'm not smart in that way. That's okay. I don't want to do that anyways. But I think like for what I want to go do, I have to be genius in that way, or else like I can't serve as much. Like that girl that was told she was dumb her whole life, but then found out she was a dancer and a dance instructor and a choreographer and a playwright, and she was genius in that. Like the world is a different place because of that, you know? Yeah. I think that is so freaking cool how certain people can give you the confidence to see you and say like, man, this realm is not for you. Let's move you over here. And all of a sudden, boom, you're intelligent, you're smart again. I think it's a worthy cause to go find that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like the school systems are like made for one type of person, but like all these other types of people are just like kind of left in the dust, and we're just expected.
Like my skin is crawling. I hated that feeling of feeling dumb.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. And like getting laughed at about a test score, like, dude, that's like, for most, that's like traumatized. Like, thank God I had a mom that filled my head with confidence. Cause like, I couldn't imagine just feeling dumb and then just making dumb decisions and being so much less than I could have been because I listened to the standard that the world, like, oh my gosh, like, thank goodness I had people in my corner to like say that I was genius somewhere else, you know? And then also, if you don't have that person in your corner, tell it to your freaking self all day long, you know?
I really like too how you're like super into like affirmations and talking to yourself and hyping yourself up.
All the weird stuff.
Jen, yeah. No, I love it because I feel like it's very rare. I honestly don't know any other guy that's super into all this stuff, you know?
I love it. I full geek, you know?
So like, where were you always into like the energy kind of stuff?
No.
Or were you like, what like sparked that specifically?
Okay, this is so random, but I'm gonna go through the random to the real, okay? When I was 11, I was the star pitcher on my baseball team. This is no joke, dude. This is where it all started.
Okay.
I, from a friend of my dad's, I had a bummed out left elbow because I was a pitcher on the baseball team. And we had the state tournament coming up. And I was the pitcher. And I was like, dude, my elbow hurts. And my dad was freaking out because he's the coach. My dad's friend's like, hey, there's this lady, she does Reiki. And I never even heard that word. He's like, I'm going to have her come over to your house. She's going to do some Reiki on your elbow to get it right for the game. And I didn't, at the time, we called this lady, this was not her name. We called her Rishkish just because it sounded like Reiki. I don't even know. It just was like weird and hippie vibes. Like, even though like I'm from Oregon, like growing up LDS, like you still shy away from all things Reiki, breath. And plus that was in like 2001. Right. But when I was 11, I had Reiki on my elbow and I went and pitched the best game of my life. And I remember telling my dad, I'm never pitching again unless I have Rishkish come to my house and do freaking her work. So I fell in love with Reiki and energy work when I was 11, but I never thought of it as like this macro thing. And it wasn't until after football in the self-discovery phase of all things holistic, I remember hearing the word Reiki again and being like, oh my gosh, I have to do that again. Where's Rishkish? But now I did a foot zone with Shay and it was unbelievable. And I started diving in.
Is that like your first thing back into?
No. That was but just like all the things holistic. But I will say this, 4 years ago, I got invited to go do a Wim Hof experience in Poland with Wim Hof. He's the Iceman. Yeah. He's great. He is the definition of holistic. Like he's just this holistic walking Yoda figure.
Does he have a big beard? Is that
beard and never wearing a shirt, always in ice water, breaking all these world records in ice. And we went and stayed at his house for 8 days. And there was a bunch of really cool figures there. Mike Posner, the singer and artist, and Jesse Itzler, Lewis Howes, Aubrey Marcus. And I remember them just sort of opening up about all things holistic and then just being there with Wim Hof and doing cold baths every day and doing breath work every morning and every night. And having Mike Posner in front of the fireplace with his guitar and us singing together in this house that like was not to code. There's one bathroom and there was like 17 of us. It was insane. Literally one bathroom, 17 of us. And we're eating all this organic and amazing food from the Chef Camus that was there. And so I'm like, this feeling, like what I feel right now, the energy of music, the energy of the cold bath and the sauna and the connection and the lights and the fire, like there was something so magical about it. I said, I want to have this feeling more in my life. And I want to give this feeling to other people on a big scale. And so to answer your question, like how did this come out? Like I was searching for relieving myself of some anger and finding this new passion that I had for football. But what's the next chapter? Realigning and getting that passion back. Cause I'm never going to live without passion. It's got to be there. So what is it? Where can I just like go single-minded towards? And it was, I feel like I found it. It was through making other people healthier and happier and in increasing the vibration of myself and giving that to others and creating spaces and community where I can make people healthy and happy. And if I can do that, then I'll be a very proud guy.
Wow. So
you know?
I'm emotional. It's so
Did
beautiful.
it really? Wow.
Wait,
Yeah.
so
Me too, actually,
with
sometimes.
all of this, and then your new business venture. Can you share a little bit about that? Because
Yes.
that's kind of what you're doing.
It's exactly aligned.
Okay.
When this crowning event of this Wim Hof experience in Poland, we did a shirtless, it was shorts and boots only, January 20th in Poland. It was ass cold. Sorry for my language, that was aggressive. It was so cold. It was like -20 with the wind chill. We did a 4-hour snow hike in Poland. And I remember it was a full week of, like I said, the music and the vibration, the energy of like stripping down all your ego and just being there with your boys and your friends. And this crowning event of with Wim Hof. And you see 61-year-old Wim Hof just doing this, and it didn't affect him at all. It was such a cool figure. It's a shame that all of us had to come all the way to Poland from America just to feel these feelings. This feeling needs to be shared and experienced by others. And that was 4 years ago. And I've been working on this project sort of in the background, but really hard over this past year to recreate that energetic and vibrational experience that I felt in Poland and recreate it for others to experience. And so all these sauna parties that my wife and I throw in our backyard, and like, a couple nights ago, we did a sound bath and sauna and cold plunge night with charcuterie. And we're just constantly trying to find ways to energetically heal people and bring them to spaces. And almost every single time people come over to our house for these sauna parties, we'll call them, they're just filled. They love it. They're obsessed. We're obsessed. We're vibing.
The medicine
We're
is
literally
here.
feeling it. It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's just a recreation of that experience that I had. And that stuff is impacting me so much that I'm launching a sauna cold bath experience in Pleasant Grove, Utah, and then a second location pending, hopefully, in downtown Salt Lake. It is a 50-person sauna, 10-person cold bath. It's going to be insane. 50-person sauna, 10-person cold bath, but all the hours of the day are different themes, and they're all class-based. So there's an instructor in the sauna with you, guiding you through a meditation. So while you're already buzzing off that sauna, isn't that insane? It's insane. While you're already buzzing from that sauna, it's going to be so rad.
In Utah. Woo.
I know.
Wow. Okay.
While you're already buzzing from that sauna, and you have an instructor now guiding you through a meditation. Because in the sauna, you release oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin. Those are the love drugs. So you already feel good by just sitting in a sauna with doing nothing. Now change the lights, change the smells, have an instructor in there with you that's guiding you through this peak experience. And then have 20 people that you love in that sauna with you. You can't not feel feelings that you've never felt before. That will happen. And so we're just recreating this hippie experience. And then you go to the cold bath and back and forth in the sauna for an hour and 15-minute experience just to feel peak. Because if I can create a space where people feel just peak vibrationally, they feel amazing, then they're going to go and be amazing for the people in their life. For places like Plunge, who have sauna cold, and some other places like, Sweat House is coming up in American Fork. Like I cheer for them. I hope they do fantastic because they're raising the vibration of people. They're making people better. Where I think we'll be different is we're more of a guided, full-on experience. So if you want to do like your own room and your own sauna and your own cold bath, well, then you can buy your own and do it in your backyard. Yeah. Or you can go to a sweat house and you can get your own sauna and cold in your own room. Like we're so anti-own room.
It's like a community.
It's just community
thing.
only.
Yeah. Okay.
There's not even a women's and men's locker room. It's like, it's a shared derobing area. But if you actually need to change, there's like little changing rooms, but we're doing this together. Like you come in, there's no lobby to sit down because I don't want people sitting down on their phones. Like you come in, you check in, you get right to work.
Wow.
You go in, you're already probably in your bathing suit. You have your locker, you put yourself in your locker, and then you go past what we call our ceremonial door.
I'm just in awe right now.
It's going to be so rad, dude.
My new temple.
It's going to be insane.
My prophet, Mitch Mathews.
Oh my gosh, dude. You've got to stop her. Abby, you got to stop her. Okay, so you go through the ceremonial door and all the lights change. So you feel like you're in a ceremony, right? And based on the class, let's say the class is a It's like an upper, like a tribal class specifically. The guide is running you through like a confidence building, optimism seeking class in the sauna to get that tribal spirit out of you, to bring you to a place of confidence, And then there's a spot to hang out and mingle and grab water. And then there's a cold bath. But we actually crammed the space in. It's 2,700 square feet. So it's not a massive, massive place, but it's by design. It's like we want people together sharing a space and having this guided oxytocin, serotonin journey of just love and connection. And that's what we're creating. So all the smells and the lights and the theme of the class and the type of instructor will all match up to give you this hopefully experience that you never had before.
Yeah.
And so we open in 90 days. It's going to be insane.
Oh my gosh.
We're so stoked.
So Pleasant Grove.
We haven't even announced it yet. We haven't even announced it yet. I mean, a lot of people know, but we haven't like fully announced it yet. But I hope it does well. I pray it does well. Not because it's like, I hope it does well because then I look a certain way. I hope it does well because I really believe people need to experience this. Yeah, that's why I hope it does well.
Because we have a friend, Shay, that does like her river cold.
Unbelievable.
Like
I've been to one.
Cool. And like, I feel like it's going to be that same energy, which is really cool of just
it's gonna be rad.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited.
Hey, will you guide for me?
Yes,
will you guide a class?
Please.
You would do so well.
I'm ready to live there. I'm ready to move in.
Yeah, there's sleeping bags. You can live there.
So people just like go through and find a class that they want to attend and then they'll just sign up for that.
So you asked about membership based.
Yes. Okay.
So yes, we'll have memberships like founding members and one-times punch passes. But it's all intention based. So like, for example, like if I feel like I've just been stressed out of my mind this past week, well, then you would find a class that fits what you need, like a downer class, like a release class, like a guided meditation that's about releasing that stress. If it's the opposite, if you feel like you've been not stressed enough and you want more out of life, well, then go to a class that's more of an upper. You know what I mean? And then we're going to have couples classes, girls only, guys only classes. So it'll be so catered to like these real needs of people. And one of the classes the reason why we have sauna in our backyard is because of this.
Okay.
So we do these sauna parties so we can really tune in the vibe and make it so that we can provide a great vibrational experience. But one of the classes I'm most excited for that we're going to do is a couples massage class in the sauna. You take these bamboo sticks and you sit behind the person and then you can like hit them with the stick and like do a little like partner massage with the music. Wow. We're going to be high as a kite. Off all the right things. It's going to be insane. I know it's going to be insane. I'm so stoked.
Wow. Yeah.
So just different modalities that really bring a lot of good to people. And I so want like the right instructors that bring their own flair and their own gifts and they can just let those go.
Yeah.
Providing a space where people can heal and be instructed. We're stoked.
I'm so excited. I feel like we definitely need something like this,
Oh, it's needed.
Yeah.
I needed it.
A place to go and do this. Cause I feel like there's a lot of groups and different communities and different things or like, Shay's stuff at the river, the ceremony, but like a cool, actual like structured place where you can just go anytime. I think that's so.
Yeah. And there's so many awesome communities. Like even your community is so freaking cool. Like
even for me, like if I could just like book it for all of my girls, we could all go together. Like
we'll do that all the time. Yeah. That's a standing meeting in Fridays. You know what I'm saying? That's all the time. Perfect. But there's so many cool communities in Utah too. Okay, by the way, here's what everyone needs to notice.
Okay.
For the last like 20, 30, maybe 40 years, we have lacked community as a society. When there was tribes and villages, that was community. Like you had your thing, your people, your theme, you had your community. When we became who we were, let's call it 80s and 90s, and it was life changed from we live in big cities now, then we have suburbs and we have our own lives. We actually didn't need community as much because we're like, we're financially better off than we ever have been. Life's good. We have social media now, even too, that came out and that feels like I'm connected. If you've noticed like the last 5 years, the amount of communities that have come up, like vulnerability is cool. And even things like run clubs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even things like yoga groups that meet together every Friday, like those weren't happening, in my opinion, like 10 years ago. It's because people have needed community. They just didn't know they needed it because we lived in this world of like, we kind of have it all. We don't need this tribal protection, this community protection. We kind of have it. Everyone's got my back. We're all good. Financially, we're good. And I think people like rode that wave until like right now we're like, wait a minute. Everyone's a little bit sick. So it's cool, but everyone's a little bit sick.
Yep.
We need a community where we can lean on people that's outside of work.
Yeah.
And go to that run club, go to that breathwork class, go to the river ceremonies.
And be real and not have to put this face on for
yeah,
everybody.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And there's so many, you go on social media now, there's like this club, and this club has its own social media. And there's places for people to go for radically close community. And so we want to have our own community and then take all those communities like yours, like Shay's, like all these peoples and tie all those communities together and really benefit from each other. So it's a community, it's a collection of communities to build one big mega community of healing. That's what we want to do.
And I love this because we've talked a little bit about, like, I just did ayahuasca, but like when you go to Rhythmia where I went, like, you know, everybody's there because they're craving connection and community. So everybody's just vulnerable. Like I knew so much about everybody there, like more than I know about like people I've known my whole life, you know, just in the first 2 days, because you know their intentions in being there, which I feel like is going to be really cool for you because everyone wants to connect. They want community. Because if they don't, they're going to go to a place that doesn't have that. You know,
well, they wouldn't show up. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind
That's so true.
Even vulnerable to show up.
That's so true. Yeah.
You're like, hey, I want more in my life.
When to that point, when we were building this space, so many people were like, well, what if someone wants like their own, like their own private shower room or their own private cold tub? Like, go find somewhere else then. Like, go find a different business. You go to a river by yourself. Like, we don't even like our shower area. You're in your regular bathing suit, but it's just like a rinse station. Like you don't have your own shower to go do your thing. Like there's no like it's a shared space. We share the sauna, we share the showers together, we share the locker room together, and we share the cold bath together. And then we're developing. So all those intentions, whether it's uppers, downers, tribals, all those different classes we'll have. We're creating those classes digitally as well. So we'll have a digital tribal hour that you can come home and have like a confidence meditation while you're at home. And so it extends digitally, right? And so it's community.
With like an app?
Yeah, an app.
Okay, cool.
It's community only. Like it's not like you don't get your own shower. You don't get your own cold bath. Like it's if you need your own, then you're not for us. That's cool. Go do your own thing. But this is for people that want community.
You do need community. Everybody does.
True.
You're not for us, but
true.
You are for us.
Very true. But that's what we're standing by is like, no, it's not, you don't get your own anything. You are there for the community. If you're not about that, that's fine. But we're there for community only.
Wow. I am so excited. I'm ready to be a missionary for this place.
while this like spirit, like Mormon ties, like temple, prophet, and missionary have all come up already.
Come on. This was the first 26 years of my life. Okay.
Yeah. How old are you?
28.
28. Okay. Yeah. I love my time as a missionary though. That was great, dude. Same. Were you a missionary?
Yeah.
Oh, where'd you go?
Argentina.
Sick. Florida.
Okay, cool.
Argentina, that's sweet.
Oh, you spent a lot of time in Florida.
Huh?
The Dolphins?
Oh, yeah.
Football knowledge.
Yeah, you second guessed that for sure. I did. I went back to when I was playing for the Dolphins, I lived in my mission area.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
wow.
Same, I think it was the same ward even. I don't know. But same area, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, yeah.
That's cool.
I know, it's so cool.
Full circle.
I know. I love me some Florida though. Florida's great. I don't know if I could live there though. Are you going to be in Utah your whole life?
I don't know.
Is that home?
Yes, it's home. I think it'd be fun to like live somewhere else and then like come ski in the winter and like come visit. But living here in the winter just
like a reverse snowbird almost. Come back in the winter.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no, you're saying come back to ski when you want to, but not live here full time.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Like I love living here in the summer, but the winters just really get me.
Dude, the summers in Utah are insane.
Yeah.
Utah's gotten so much better though. I was a big hater when I got here like 12 years ago.
You're not from here.
Yeah, it was just different. Growing up in Oregon was just different than here. Very liberal to very conservative, you know?
Yeah.
But Utah's grown on me a lot. Like I used to be almost anti-Utah. Like I can't wait to leave. I don't know what the heck that was. Like I don't know if that was ego or whatever that was, but I was just like, I can't wait to get out of here. I don't know. But now I'm like, no, I got Utah's back. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just so much different. It's less like our family's still LDS. We're still believers. But like LDS culture has always been something I've struggled with.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's most prominent here in Utah for sure.
In Utah County. But like, it's so much different now than it was 12 years ago. I think it was, you were judged if you weren't perfect. I think that's just so different now. I think Utah's just great for business.
I actually want to talk about this because you're so in like the spiritual world, and then you're also still a member of the church, which I think is really cool. And then we were also talking a little bit about plant medicine. And so I kind of want to hear your experience with that, because I'm sure you understand this for sure because you're opening this place, but because you can definitely have that vibration and that frequency and feel that spirit and like the energy without plant medicine. Yeah. But I want to know like how you've integrated that in your life and how it's helped you, and kind of your process with that.
I don't sell anybody on plant medicine or even like sound baths and sauna nights. Like I don't feel like it's right to sell people on it, because vibrationally they might just be good. They might be just totally fine. And if you're ever selling someone on it, like there's something energetically sort of off about that. Anyways, for me, it was that time in my life where I was just living with this baseline of anger. It's just who I was. It was just kind of grumpy and angry about life. And I had a guy that I really look up to and respect that heard my story and what I was going through. And I was able to just like word vomit on him, like all the stresses I was going through in business and life and this new change. And he was a plant medicine guy, and he sort of just introduced me in a way where it was not a sale at all, because he doesn't get anything from this. And I told him, I was like, I feel like I need something. Actually, I'll be even more in depth. I told Madie, this is a couple years ago, I'm like, babe, I'm so stressed right now. I feel like I'm off. Like, would you care if I just went and like cut loose with the homies one night? Just went and tore it up. She's like, if you feel like that's what you need to do, you can do that.
Oh, but that wasn't, woman.
She's such a good gal, but that wasn't me though. I wasn't going to do that. I just like wanted to say it. Like, I just wanted to like, just go do it, you know, just cause I was so stressed. I wanted an escape. And that's when I had this meeting with this guy who I really looked up to. And I just think the difference of like drugs versus medicine really resonated with me. I think these plants, if they're used recreationally, it's a drug, and it can be inappropriate. And a lot of times is. Yeah. If you use it as a medicine, I think it's sacred and awesome. And that was my line. And it wasn't like I needed to like sell Madie on that, my wife. It was just like, if I just use these as medicines, then I know I'm making God proud. In my opinion, I'm making God proud because I treat people better now than I ever did, straight up. And if I get in trouble for that, or I get condemned for that in this next life, I'd be shocked, because I use these as medicine. Yeah. And it's not often. It's once a quarter, maybe, you know? Yeah. It's every couple months just to reset my energy. And so I did different medicines, but I keep it really on like the sacred level of like, it's not a party thing. I don't do that. It's not a cut loose thing. It's not an escape thing. Because if it is, I got other work to do. I feel
like that's a good kind of marker. I don't know. Are you using this to like escape or not? I feel like
totally.
That's kind of where I'm like, do I need to just sit with some emotions or
totally?
You know?
Yeah. Or like, it's like you just like let stress build up and like, oh, mushrooms will fix me. And then you go another quarter, like, oh, MDMA will fix me. Like if that's how you're living, then it's just like, it's not inappropriate. It's just like, there's other things like journaling and meditation and daily practices. Yeah. It's like trying to max squat like once a quarter and thinking that you're healthy. It's like, no, you got to work out every day, you know? So that's how I've looked at it. And it's been really, really cool. And I think the best compliments that I've received have been people that knew me 5 years ago and people that know me now. And let's say, without even being prompted or even known that I do plant medicine at all, will say, oh, you're just different than you used to be. And just that sentence alone is like, yes, like the work is paying off. Yeah. And it's not just, oh, plant medicine did it. It's like the whole thing. Yeah. Never journaled before, never put any pen to paper before, never meditated before. I'm talking after football, never did any of that stuff. Or sorry, during football. Now it's like I do those things and I just feel like I'm a little different than before. And that little difference has made a lot of difference, you know? Yeah. So I try to keep it on that thread. But also, as we were talking before, and I'm sorry, I'm long-winded on this, like I don't go into like a plant medicine journey. Like I go in with intention, but I don't look at it as like, okay, like I'm going to do this journey today. Is it this or is it the Mormon church? Like, which one's going to win today? Like, it's not even a thought. Like, I just do it to energetically change me, to make me a better human, to help me go really deep in that meditation and self-discover.
Yeah.
I don't go into it to see if Joseph Smith's a prophet. Like, that's not what I'm doing it for. I already believe that. And so I do it so I can treat people better. I do it so energetically I can be better, so I can accomplish these goals of serving and making a deep impact in the world. That's why I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I can be a better person. So it's not like a lot of people are like, oh, if you've gone and done those things, you've now chosen to be anti. It's like, to me, I just do it to just change me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep it on that level for now.
I love that. That's so crazy. When my first time, I did mushrooms, I was so scared. And I'm like, Madie, your wife, like, I'm so by the book, you know?
Oh, you guys are the exact same.
I did not want to get on medication, but I needed something. Like, I was like not in a good spot, you know, my energy was off. And so I prayed and I fasted about doing mushrooms because I had like a couple of friends that were interested in that, and prayed and fasted, researched it for like over a year. I was so nervous. And then I remember when I went to go do my first like ceremony, I prayed and fasted. I was so nervous and I put them in my mouth, and you know, like they don't kick in for like sometimes an hour, but the second I put them in my mouth, I just had this overwhelming feeling of peace that God was just like,
that's so
this
cool.
is okay.
That's
you know?
so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I never had anything with the church come up. Like, it was never like, this is right, this is wrong. Like, it was just connecting to myself.
If that comes up for you, then you can handle that. But for me, it sounds like for you too. It's like, I'm doing this for just me, the human.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, there's things in my brain, micro trauma, like little things that like, I just want to address
and
so I can be peaked.
Need the outside perspective. You know?
Totally.
Yeah. I'm excited for my dad to listen to this and hear someone that's still active Mormon doing this.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just keep it on that thread of like, this is for me as the human being. This isn't like, I don't look at this thing as like a new God. That's not even, that's like, to me, it's like God's done so much for me in my life. Like, so much. To think that I'm just going to go find a new one because some new thing came up is crazy. Like, I know God's done so much for me. If this is going to help that train, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. Let's keep it moving. But I can be more abundant and I can be more real and I can energetically be even more right. Like, I think one thing that always comes up to me is, I think in our society, this is just Utah at least, for whatever reason, I don't know how this happened. It's cultural, but like, you can be active in the church, pay your tithes, not cuss, fulfill your calling, but be an asshole. And that's better than not going to church or going to church, doing plant medicine and just treating people really well.
Yeah.
I'm not a betting man. Well, sometimes, but I'm not a betting man, but I would probably guess that if I treated people really, really well and did plant medicine and wasn't perfect in church and my language is a little foul at times, but I treat people well and I love people and my businesses that I start are to help people, then I'm probably in a pretty dang good place with God.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying better than the other person who's active in the church and doesn't cuss and pays his tithing, but is just a prick. I would say that resume doesn't compare to the one of the person who treats people really, really well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so that is something that a lot of people that I've known through the BYU pipeline, are you freaking kidding me? That's like how you win. Just have this like crisp and clean resume of like, dude, I don't cuss, haven't cussed. I pay my tithing and I do this and my calling is, one step higher than yours. Like, there's so much of that stuffy BS that I can't stand.
Yeah.
I think that you can still be active in the church and use things like plant medicine if you use it sacredly, not a replacing of God or not a replacing of your beliefs at all. That's just my opinion, by the way.
Yeah.
But, to actually help the mission you're already on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was a rant.
No, I love it. That's so cool. And I feel like it's like it's just like a kind of a taboo subject. So I like that you talk about it with confidence and you're just like, you love what you're doing and like you're doing it in the right way for you. And yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I think if you go through like the plant medicine topic with like, I need something new, then you'll probably find it. You know what I'm saying? But that means you're already broken with the one from the beginning. So plant medicine wasn't the reason why you left the church. It was because you're already ready to get out because you needed something new. And that was your talking point to say, I did plant medicine and now I'm out. No, you were already out.
Yeah.
Mentally. You know what I'm saying? Which, but by the way, that's fine if you were. Like, that's totally fine if you were. I just think it's just call a spade a spade. Like, it's like you're doing it for why you really want to do it. But at the end of the day, like, why is like, let me ask you this. Why is religion talked about in the same thread as plant medicine? Like, to me, they're not related.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, well, okay, here's my
Because
thing.
I was just saying, like, I'm slacking the church as if I've won. That's not the case. That's just me personally. Like, for you, and I don't know if this is private or whatever, but like, you're not in the church anymore. You are. No. That's public.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like, that's cool too. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying it in a way like I found the right way. Like, it's not that. It's just that, like, I feel like a lot of people go into it with like, I need something new. And why do people correlate the two?
Well, I think, for me with religion, I feel like it was like when I was already on the fence though. Like what you said, I already was. Like, I had a bad experience with a bishop and I just started thinking about things and it just was not resonating with me anymore. Gotcha. And I couldn't kick the feeling, you know? And then I got into plant medicine and then it just like, it helped me. It really helped me live for myself instead of letting everybody's opinions like guide my life. Totally. You know, like I wore garments. I never wanted to wear garments ever, but I wore them because I knew my family would be disappointed if I didn't wear them, you know? But like there's things
crazy, man.
I went on a mission for me and I worked in the temple for me. I did those things because I wanted to do those things. But the more that honestly, it was just being honest with myself. And I think that plant medicine helped me get to that point. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think plant medicine helped you just act honestly to yourself and have the confidence to.
Yeah.
Plant medicine, well, for me, it's a big confidence booster. And I don't think I needed like a lot more confidence to act on the things that I wanted to. But like when I've done plant medicine, it's actually given me this like extra layer of abundance and confidence just to be radically me.
Yeah.
And it's so freeing. And I think a lot of people when you're in the church they don't feel free. I think you can be personally, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Because they might be OCD about it. They're like, no, it's got to be this way.
Yeah. And you said you're not a rule follower really. Like you're just kind of go with them so for me, it was like 100% in or 100%
Well, it probably just drove you crazy.
Know? Oh yeah.
Dude, being Mormon or LDS, it's tough. That's a tough gig, man. You know how hard that is? Like to be perfect, like in any realm, any religion, like to try to strive for like the highest level of perfection, dude, that's stressful, man. That's hard, man. And so, you with your things that you're very open about, like OCD, it must have been way harder.
Yeah.
That's a term that I've used from you. You actually gave me that term, OCD Mormon. Ooh. I was like, wait a minute. That helped me look at like other people that I know differently. I'm like, wait a minute. They're not less stronger believer than me. They're just OCD about it. And it almost gave me this like maybe a layer of confidence, like stop even looking at who's a better Mormon. There's no such thing. Yeah, that's like so weird to even say. Mm-hmm. It's just like they're just more OCD about it than you are. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like I believe that the person who smokes and drinks and does whatever, but loves the hell out of people and deeply, deeply believes is in a great standing with God, I think. That's why that's why Jesus hung out with the sinners, man. Because he knew that like those people maybe needed some help with some things, but those people are authentic and real. And a lot of times they love people.
Yeah. And he was probably learning from them,
Maybe.
Like just being so open and vulnerable. Okay. Well, something that I love to ask my guests is like, what is one thing that you would tell your younger self? Like it could be 5 years behind, 10 years behind, like one thing that you would tell them from like the knowledge that you have today.
What is one thing I would tell my younger self? Life is super short. And for whatever reason, it's kept coming up to me recently, like how fast months go by and years go by, probably because of kids actually. But do stuff that matters. Do stuff that matters. And I think I got that train of thought from a book that I read called Start Something That Matters. The founder of Tom's, Blake Mycoskie. His business was around, I can go make money and have these personal goals. I can do all those things, but I'm not going to unless I'm making other people better as well. And that's why when you buy a pair of Tom's, they donate a pair of shoes, right? It's such a cool model. And so his book was called Start Something That Matters. And I read it. It was one of my first books I ever read years ago. And I wish I would have started thinking like that before, because now I feel like I know how fast time goes. Like, what am I doing wasting any time with things that just don't deeply, deeply matter? Like, you can make money from this business or this one. One of them is just a straight grind. The other one, you can actually, every time they swipe their card, a customer does, they receive a direct, massive benefit from it. I'm going to choose that business. I'm just going to do things that matter from now on, you know?
Yeah.
And so if I could tell my younger self anything, just only do things that really, really matter.
Okay. Wow. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
good question though.
Thank you. I love that. And the other question I ask is, if you could have everybody in the world understand one thing, what would it be?
If everyone could understand that they have a gift and that they're super special in their own way, I think we'd see a whole different world.
Yeah.
I think vibrationally as a society, and you can read about this in Power versus Force, you will, we live in a suboptimal vibrational level. A lot of anger, a lot of jealousy, a lot of shame, a lot of pride, all those things. And so there's a lot of anger that happens in the world. And you look on your phone, look in the news, you'll see anger, you'll see division, you'll see all that stuff. But it's because I think people are living somebody else's life. I think if we leaned into our gifts, and whoever hears this, and I need to share this more, but like if people understood how really special they were, if they don't feel it right now, that's fine. Just go find it. Like, really seek to find your gift, man. Like, if it's not IQ and school's not your thing, that's fine. You're a genius in some other way.
Yeah.
Don't stop until you find it. I think people lose confidence though when they're pushed down, or had bad parents, had bad childhood. They're like, all right, my situation wasn't as good as somebody else's, so I'm just going to kind of ride the wave and just be done. I think if people attacked and search so hard to find where they're special, you're going to get hooked on that feeling of like, I'm special here. How can I show the world now? Whether it's a school you create or a business you create, I think that is really, really cool. So if people could realize how special they are and to not stop until they find out how special they are, I think we'd see a whole different world.
I agree. I love that.
So, good question.
You're so deep. All the things you say are so profound.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you
It's
so
fun
much.
jamming with you though. Seriously.
Yes,
It's a great time.
I love this.
Good topics. I love these topics though. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like they're so much more fun than like margins and business, like whatever. Like you're just like alpha mailing each other. You know what I mean? Like,
not find that here.
you know what I mean? Like, just like, those are fine too, by the way. Like I have those conversations a lot. They're fine. But like, I think the deep stuff is like, that's really where things get magical. You know?
Yeah. Yes. Magical. I love that.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much for coming on.
So fun.
You can find him on Instagram. I'll tag him on all the stuff.
Let's go.
And yeah. Amen. I always say amen.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Look at this. Just sacrilegion everywhere over here.
I tell everyone they're my Lord and Savior.
Oh my gosh, dude.